at the beginning of class before our test, okay? Now, we did section 1.1, we did section 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. We also did 1.5 yesterday. So with 1.5, that is inequalities, okay? I want you to just make sure we remember if we have greater than or less than, we use open circles, parentheses. Infinity also gets a parentheses. If we have less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, we get a closed circle. If we use a closed circle, we use a bracket. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, the inequality flips, okay? I want to go ahead and look at question 27 real fast, okay? So I want us to look at this for a very specific reason. And so I want us to solve it. So there's nothing I can do with 86, so I bring that down. But what do I do to the right-hand side of this equation? Plus 6x. We distribute that. So now we combine like terms. What are my like terms I can combine? What is 6x plus 4x? So we get 10x plus 6. Now what? How do I move it? Okay, we have 80 minus 6, which is going to give 86 minus 6, which is greater than 10x. Divide both sides by what? So I get 8 is greater than x. Okay. If it says 8 is greater than x, does that mean x or 8 is bigger? 8, okay? That right there is the same as if you said x is less than 8, okay? Those two things mean the exact same thing, okay? I say that because when we go to graph this, does it get an open or closed circle at 8? Will it go to the right or to the left? To the left, okay? If it is written with your variable first, that arrow shows you which way the graph points. If it's written backwards, like this one was, it does not do that. I've noticed a couple errors from that, okay? So make sure you know if x is bigger or if 8, the number is bigger when you go to do these, especially if they're written backwards. I think 25 ends up written backwards as well, as negative 13 is less than n. In this case, is n bigger or is 13 bigger? N is bigger, right? So that would be negative 13, opens circle, to the right or to the left?
Right.
To the right, because n is bigger. If you need to rewrite that as n is greater than negative 13, take a step and rewrite it so that you don't mix that up. Okay, if I do interval notation for 27, how do I do interval notation?
Parentheses, negative infinity. Parentheses.
Here we go. So make sure you know which way to draw the graph, okay? If it's written backwards, rewrite it so it's the correct way if you need to. Do whatever you need to do to make it make sense, okay? Now, 1.6, these are compound inequalities. So before we do these, I want to, at the side here, just make sure we remember something. So if we have an or inequality, that means we're going to have x is greater than a number or x is less than. Or let's just do it like a number sign. A number. Okay? It means it's set up like that. And when it is set up like that, does our graph go together or apart? It goes apart. That means our interval will be negative infinity to a number, u, the number to infinity. Whenever we have an or, that is what causes our graph to go apart and our inequalities to have that u in the middle, our interval to have that u. Whereas if we have and, okay, and are typically written as a number is less than x is less than a number, okay? And does those graph together or apart?
Together.
Together. And so those are intervals Go from number to number. Okay? That is just kind of like what to expect with how it's going to look, whether it's and or. I know, I hate saying or. I feel like a seal. So we're going to start with 29.
Multiply by 2.
We have to multiply everything by 2. And this side. Okay? Is this an and or an or inequality? This is an and. Okay? So what is 2 times negative 8? Negative 16.
Wait, how is it? And
Because since it's in between, it's saying it's less than, x is bigger than this, but less than this. It's putting it in the middle of them. So that means it's and. When it's written like that, it means it's an and inequality.
okay.
What would or look like?
So like it would be like together.
Or has the word or. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
All right. So it can also be written with the word and, but we won't have any of those for the compound inequalities. So we get 3x minus 4 is less than or equal to, what is 3 times 2?
6.
How would I solve from here?
Add 4 to all.
Negative 16 plus 4 is
Negative 20.
mm,
No,
negative 12. Is less than 3x is less than or equal to.
10.
How do I solve from here?
Divide by 3. No.
Okay, if it is set up like this, we do not move stuff from the outside in. We will only go inside out, okay? We are trying to get x by itself in here. We are not moving across those. Okay, we are solving inside, so we do need to do what?
Divide 3.
Divide by 3. So negative 12 divided by 3 is less than x is less than or equal to, can I simplify 10 over 3? So we just leave it. Okay. Now, we're going to do negative 4, open or close circle. And then we have 10 over 3.
So it don't matter where you put it on there?
Closed. Now, together or apart?
Together.
That is why I like to give y'all the blank graphs, because you can just label it with the numbers you need, okay? Because if this was like a normal number line, you would have to look on there and you would have to find where 10/3 is. That's just a lot, okay? How would I do the interval for this?
Parentheses, negative 4, 10/3 right.
Just like that. So that is an example of an and compound inequality, okay? Now, we're going to look at question 30 as well. So 30 is an or compound inequality, okay? So we treat both of these equations as two separate equations. We have k divided by 9 is less than or equal to 0, or k plus 5 is greater than 11. So for the first equation,
Times 9.
multiply both sides by 9. So I have k is less than or equal to, what is 0 times 9?
0.
Then over here, how would I solve k plus 5 is greater than 11?
Minus 5.
So I get k is greater than, what is 11 minus 5? 6. So we have k is less than or equal to 0, or k is greater than 6. So we have 0, open or close circle is 0. Close, because it is less than or greater than, less than or equal to. For k, open or closed?
Juniors with the last name A through C, A through G, please report to the beginning center at this time using your report.
Wait, what I said that?
Okay, now, does this go together or apart? Apart. So that means both ends go in opposite directions. Now, interval notation. How do I do interval notation here?
I thought it's bracket because it's a.
Oh, well,
The 0 gets the bracket, but infinity always gets a parentheses. Okay, this is an or, so I connect it with a U. And then 6 will have what? And it goes to infinity. Remember, the way we do this the arrows end up being on the same side. The points are on the same side. Okay? We end up taking the picture that is our graph and using symbols to recreate it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at absolute value equations and inequalities. So 1.7 is split into two sections, okay? So the first section is absolute value equations. So before we do these, I want to make sure we talk about it a little bit. So the first thing we have to do when we have an absolute value equations is we have to isolate our absolute value. So that means we're going to get our absolute value on a side by itself. 1.7. Should be the last page, I think. Okay. The second thing we do with absolute value equations is we're going to create two cases. What are the two cases? Negative and positive. We need one of each. Okay. Then the third thing is we just solve both. Okay, that is what we do for all of these. And we're actually going to look at 34, 35, and 36 here. So I want us to go ahead and look at question 34. So question 34, I have to isolate the absolute value. Okay, how do I do that? Okay, maybe, what if I gave you this right here? 5 minus 3x equals negative 103. What would you do first there? Not add 5, but subtract 5. Okay, so that is the same thing we would do in this case. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. And we get negative 3 times the absolute value of 10x plus 6 is equal to, what is negative 103?
Negative 108.
Now, can I distribute into an absolute value? No. So instead of multiplying that, I need to
Wait, why can't you just add 3?
so because it's being multiplied by the absolute value.
Okay.
It's in the place of like a negative 3x equals negative 108. So to undo it, I would have to divide. All right. We get the absolute value of 10x plus 6 is equal to, what is negative 108 divided by negative 3?
36.
So from here, we will do both cases, okay? So our first case, we will do 10x plus 6 equals 36. And then we will also do 10x plus 6 equals negative 36. So we were going to do both. Then we solve them. What is the first step I need to do to solve either of those equations? What is 36 minus 6? So I get 10x equals 30. How do I solve that? And so x equals, okay, we do that same set of steps for the second equation, so subtract 6. But what is negative 36 minus 6? Still divide both sides by 10. Can I simplify negative 42 over 10? Yeah, what goes into both 10 and 42? 2. What is negative 42 divided by 2?
21.
What is 10 divided by 2? Okay, you can also use the alpha X buttons on your calculator and it will simplify it for you. So our solution, X is equal to, use our braces or our squiggly bracket, negative 21 over 5, comma, 3. And you will have enough room to write everything. I made that block entirely too small. I'm so sorry. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and look at question 35. So for question 35, what do I do first to isolate our absolute value in 35? Subtract 1. So we get negative 4 times the absolute value of 6x minus 5 equals 76. Now what do I do? Yeah, divide by what? What is 76 divided by negative 4?
Negative 19.
Okay, so we have absolute value of 6x minus 5 equals negative 19. Can an absolute value ever equal a negative? No. So what does that mean for our solutions?
No solution.
No solution. Because an absolute value cannot equal a negative. There is no way that an absolute value will be negative 19. Because an absolute value is always positive. And we're also going to look at 36 as well. So for question 36, what do I need to do to isolate my absolute value?
You don't need to.
I don't need to, it's already good. So we will do a minus 9 equals positive 11, and a minus 9 equals negative 11. What do I do to solve those? So what is 11 plus 9? What is negative 11 plus 9?
Negative 1.
Or not negative 1, it's negative what?
2.
So our solution is a is equal to what?
Negative 2, common 4.
Because I write smallest number, then the biggest number.
Do we only use those thingies for these?
For these. So that is our absolute value equations. So our absolute value inequalities are actually compound inequalities, okay? So at the very, very bottom, I think is where we have the most room to write. So I want us to go all the way down. And we're going to put, they are compound inequalities, okay? So we're going to look at if we have the absolute value of x is greater than a, okay? If we have that, it creates an OR inequality, okay? That OR inequality will be x is greater than a or x is less than negative a. So we keep the first one, then switch the inequality, switch the sign. Keep, switch, switch. Remember the notes talking about the KISS method? Keep, switch, switch. And if we have an less than inequality, so x is less than a, that creates an AND inequality. So we can do this as x is less than a and x is greater than negative a. Again, keep, switch, switch. An AND compound inequality can also be written as negative a is less than x is less than a. Either works, okay? Both of them have pros. So like this is written just like our compound and inequalities that we're already going to be solving. So it makes it a little bit more consistent with that. But I think I lean more towards liking this setup just because it keeps the keep, switch, switch. It keeps the KISS part the same. Because we keep, switch, switch. It's very consistent with our absolute value inequalities. So we're going to do a few of these together. Okay, I think we're going to do, these are the ones I had some weird typos on. So, which two would y'all like to do? We'll do 38 and 39?
Yeah.
Let's do that. So for 38, okay, this is greater than. So that means it's an AND or an OR. Or. So we are going to have x is greater than, or x over 2 is greater than 1, or x over 2 switch.
Multiply by 2.
Multiply everything by 2. I get x is greater than, what is 1 times 2?
2.
Or, same thing over here, multiply everything by 2. X is less than negative 2. So we put negative 2 and 2 on our graph. Open or close circles for those. Since it's or, does it go together or apart? And then we do our interval. So we would do negative infinity to negative 2, parentheses or bracket.
Parentheses.
What do I put in the middle of the 2? Then we do 2 to infinity. And then I want us to look at 39. Okay? 39,
Add 1.
we add 1 first because we have to isolate our absolute value. So we add 1. We get negative 4 times the absolute value of 6x minus 5 is greater than or equal to, what is negative 77 plus 1? Negative 76.
Divide by 4.
Divide, not just 4, but,
Negative 4.
okay, I divided by a negative. What happens to my inequality? It flips it. So we get absolute value of 6x minus 5 is less than or equal to, what is negative 76 divided by negative 4? 19. Okay. So now that it's isolated, is that an and or an or inequality? And. Okay. We use the inequality after it's been isolated. Okay. And then from here, we will set this up. We will have 6x minus 5 is less than or equal to 19, and 6x minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 19. We're going to do both cases. If you prefer the other method, I'm going to write it out over here. It would be negative 19 is less than or equal to 6x minus 5 is less than or equal to positive 19. Either method works. I'm good with either. Same thing for both of them. Okay. So let's solve from here. How do I solve these? Add 5. What is 19 plus 5?
24.
So 6x is less than or equal to 24. Divide both sides by. So x is less than or equal to 4. Then we have and. Do the other one. Same thing. Add 5. We get 6x is greater than or equal to, what is negative 19 plus 5?
Negative 14.
Divide both sides by 6. We have x is greater than or equal to, can I simplify 14 over to what? Negative 7 over 3. So that is, do I use open or close circles for these? So we're going to do closed at negative 7/3, closed at 4. Together or apart?
Together.
And then parentheses or brackets?
Bracket.
From negative 7/3 to 4. All right, do y'all want to go over 40 or do y'all want to work on the rest of them by yourselves?
We don't need the squiggly ones?
Not for inequalities. The only ones we need this for is the equations.
Alright.
Okay? Does anybody want me to go over 40? Okay. The answer key is posted on Schoology, or it will be as soon as I finish it, because I'm remaking it because I did not like it. The video will also be uploaded in Schoology by the end of the day. If you have any other questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them as fast as I can.